Rudy Martinez. That party is announced for the record for the state,
Marcus Sanders.
for the defense.
Scott McCrum.
All right, are you Rudy Martinez? Yes, are you Rudy Martinez? All right, you entered a plea on July 28th of no contest to aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The court found there was sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court deferred finding you guilty, and you had applied for deferred adjudication. According to the plea bargaining agreement, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 6 years. There's a $1,500 fine. The state opposes your application for deferred adjudication, and they're taking 2 cases into consideration. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, state, any objections to the PSI report?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, any objections to the PSI report?
No.
All right, state, do you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, any witnesses?
Yes, please, Judge. Angelique Martinez.
All right, Ms. Martinez, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you're gonna have to speak up. Can you lower your hand? State your name.
My name is Angelique Martinez.
All right, defense.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Martinez, how are you related to Rudy?
Rudy is my husband.
And how long have you been married?
We got married in 2014. That makes 8 years now.
There was a young, I believe 12-year-old when this happened in the vehicle with Mr. Martinez named Cyrus. Who is Cyrus Martinez?
Cyrus is my daughter. It's his daughter.
His daughter? Biologically?
His biological daughter.
Does she live with y'all in the home?
She does.
Is she your biological daughter?
No, sir, she's not.
And how long has Rudy had custody of Cyrus Martinez?
Since Cyrus was maybe 1 year and 2 months, 1 year and 4 months,
That
very close to a year old.
okay, so at about 1 year old, Rudy took custody of Cyrus?
Yes, sir.
What was wrong with the biological mother that didn't have custody of Cyrus?
That choice was made just because he had a steady job and he was able to better provide. He could take care of her.
So he took care of her on his own
Yes.
from her about age of 1 year old.
Mhm.
How old was Cyrus when y'all got married?
Make me do some math here. So. Okay, so we got married on my 21st birthday. She's maybe 6 or 7.
And so from her age of 1 year old to her age of 6 or 7, is it fair to say Rudy raised her or was raising her by himself?
Yes, it's fair to say that.
Was her mother a part of her life that you know of?
Not often.
Has her mother been a part of her life since y'all have been married?
Not often.
And so Rudy was the main influence in raising Cyrus from the time she was 1 year old. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
And how is Cyrus doing in school these days?
She's doing really well. She is excelling in basketball. Her grades are A's and B's. She has many friends.
Does she play any other sports besides basketball?
She also does track and field. She does soccer. And this year she's even trying out for the football team.
Okay. And was a lot of that attributed to Rudy and what he has done raising her through the years?
Like as far as her interests?
Her interest in just doing well in school and in athletics.
That's their bonding time. That's how they play together. That's how they spend most of their time together, is playing ball outside. You know, it's only natural that she fell into these things.
And so I believe since this offense occurred in July of last year, which is a little bit over a year ago.
Yes, sir.
And Rudy's been on house arrest since then, correct?
Yes, sir.
Has he been able to participate with Cyrus in the past year?
No, he hasn't at all.
How has that affected Cyrus and Rudy?
For both of them, it's been devastating. Rudy is Cyrus's #1 cheerleader. That's who she wants to be there. He's always been at her practices, at her games, at any function. in the stands cheering her on. You know, you can hear him above all the other parents.
Does he ever miss any of her activities or games
No.
or something? To let me finish answering,
Sorry.
asking before you answer. Does he ever miss any of her activities, games, practices, any involvement whatsoever because of his own interests?
Absolutely not. She is his greatest interest.
When this incident occurred, I'm sure they talked to you about it. The incident that he's charged with here.
Yes.
Cyrus and Rudy talked to you about this, right?
Cyrus and I haven't really talked about it. Rudy told me more or less what happened.
Oh, yes. Just gotta check.
No problem. It happens.
And Ms. Martinez, talk briefly about yours and Rudy's relationship through the years. How long have you known him?
So I met Rudy when I was 13 years old. He's been a good friend of mine all these years. It took us a long while to get to dating. And I have had the pleasure of watching him grow as a human through these years.
And tell the judge about some of the good qualities about Rudy and his relationship with you and with Cyrus.
So he's an amazing work ethic. He is my best friend. He keeps me laughing. I don't know what I would do without his company. He really is the one who keeps me sane on a daily basis.
Has he always kept work? Has he always kept
He's
employment?
always kept employment.
Tried to support y'all financially?
Has always helped support us financially.
Have you ever had a problem with him going out and being out all night with the guys and stuff like that where he doesn't come home or doesn't fulfill his responsibilities at home?
No, he's just not that kind of guy.
Never any of that.
Never any of that. He's always been a good husband to me.
Is there anything else that you'd like to tell the judge about Rudy before she decides how to sentence him?
And Your Honor, I'm just wanting to ask you to give him a chance. I know that this situation is very bad, but we also have a 14-year-old girl at home about to be 14. It's her teenage years. She needs her father. I need my husband. I need his help supporting our household. I need my friend. I don't know what I would do if I lost him. Whether it be for a year or 2 years, I just don't know what I would do without him.
I'll pass the witness.
Any questions?
Just a few, Judge. Ms. Martinez, what's your maiden name?
It's Kendra.
So are you the same Angelique Control that is the victim in the case that Rudy Martinez was given deferred for? So back in, I believe, 2012, he was placed on deferred for choking, strangling you, right?
That is the charge.
Was he a good husband when he did that to you?
That's an isolated incident. And yes, Phil was a good husband.
No further questions, Judge.
Just as to that issue, that was in 2012, I believe he said, correct?
I do not remember the exact year.
And aside from that one incident, or before that incident, had he ever assaulted you or been violent with you in any way?
No, he hadn't.
After that incident, has he ever been violent with you, physical, aggressive with you in any way?
No, sir.
Has he ever been violent, aggressive, physical with his daughter Cyrus in any way?
Oh, absolutely not.
Pass the witness.
All right, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you so much for coming down to testify and giving me some insight into him. Thank you. All right, I'll call your next witness.
That's all. Rudy Martinez. And I guess I'll actually call Rudy Martinez.
All right, can you raise your right hand? You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God. All right, you can lower your hand. You're going to need to speak up.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, state your name for the record.
Rudy Martinez.
All right, defense.
Rudy, on this incident, you were driving, you had your daughter with you, correct?
Yes, sir.
And now that the seriousness of the charge, the fact that a firearm and shooting a firearm was involved, do you understand now, looking back on that you handled that situation in a wrong way?
Yes, sir.
Tell the judge, though, what you were feeling at that moment when this incident occurred. What led to that?
just the feeling of utmost distress and fear. I didn't really know what to expect during that whole altercation. But other than that, just trying to keep my daughter safe.
No, what do you mean by keeping her safe? Why did you feel that that was necessary to keep her safe?
Well, I mean, around where I live, a lot of things like that go on every day.
Like what?
Driving recklessly, people firing guns randomly, and just the simple fact that that's just where my head went so fast. I had my kid with me, like I said. I know I shouldn't have handled it that way, but that's just where my head went after miles of being followed and messed with on the road. I tried to even veer off to the right side is the only way on that particular road that I can get off of. And when I stopped my truck, it went on. And then that's where after a while ended. And then I just went home.
Did you feel that the complaining witness was being more aggressive with her vehicle, putting your vehicle in more danger than you were to her at that point?
Yes, that was the whole point of me even considering pulling out my firearm. That was only because I almost lost control of my truck twice, and that was enough for me to start reacting the way I reacted.
Did your emotions raise because you felt your daughter's life was in danger?
Definitely.
Would you handle it differently now that you can see back on that situation with a level head and not emotional, that you can't just resort to pulling out a firearm in incidents like that, regardless of the danger it's causing on the highway?
Yes, sir. Definitely. Through this entire process I've been through since it happened, I can definitely see a better way to handle situations like that when they occur.
Is there anything else you want to tell the judge before I pass the witness?
Just I apologize for my actions, and I know now what I did was wrong. Just would like a fair punishment, I guess. So,
Pass the witness.
Mr. Martinez, did you see the victim pull out or point a weapon at you?
yes.
And you said that she was, I guess, where was the victim's car in relation to yours? To the left of you or to the right?
Several places. So I was in front, she was in back, almost the entire chase. And then she moved to the passengers for the remainder of the chase. That's my daughter's side. Until then, my mind was going 1,000 miles an hour. But no, I couldn't see nothing except when she would go enough back. And when I look in my mirror, I would see the bird 2 times and it flipped me off. But other than that, that's all I saw was him.
So when you fired the gun, you fired it across your daughter,
No.
not the passenger one, right?
No.
Okay, how did you fire
The
it?
driver's side.
So how did it hit her vehicle if she was on your daughter's side of the vehicle?
Because we had parked. So off 281, there's access roads you can leave to and go somewhere else. There's also like a median, if you will. If something happens to your vehicle, you can put your car there. People can continue to drive.
Why did you park if you felt that you were in danger?
Why did I park? To see if she would keep going. At the time, again, for the record, I didn't know that this was a female. If it was a car full of boys or one pump or whatever, I didn't know who was in the car. That's my point. I was hoping that they would just leave me alone, because 2 times, really bad, I almost lost control. And the second time, I was able to notice the traffic.
So Mr. Martinez, did you call the cops?
No, I was trying to get my phone. I couldn't get my phone because it went under my seat.
So you couldn't get your phone, but you could get a gun.
My gun was closer to me.
And then, so the officers determined that the bullet went from the back of the vehicle, back right to the left. So how can you explain that if she was following behind you the entire time?
When I had stopped, she kept proceeding on the access road that lead off the highway.
Okay.
So after that, that's when I had discharged my oil.
So when she was driving off is when you shot her?
No, she wasn't driving off. She was parked. She stopped and I stopped. Nothing happened. Now, this is seconds of me thinking. My head's going 1,000 miles an hour. Like I said, I have my kid in the car. So that's when I discharged my oil. When we were both stopped. She wasn't driving. She fired a driving car. That's not.
How many shots did you fire?
One around, one is me.
All right, we'll pass witness.
Nothing further.
I have a question. Well, I have several questions. My first question is, since you had the prior choking case, which was a family violence case. And I'm sure there was an affirmative finding of family violence in that case. And with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own any weapons. Let's start with, why did you have a weapon even though you were not supposed to have one?
Oh, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to have one. It had been years already since that happened, and I didn't know that I wasn't able to have firearms.
Then my other thing is, I always read the stipulations very well. And I always read the PSI report before sentencing. One, I reread the steps just to refamiliarize myself with things. And then, of course, I always read the PSI. And this is what the PSI report says. And it says almost the same thing as the stipulation says. They contacted the victim and she provided a statement. She stated a vehicle driven by the defendant cut her off while she was driving her vehicle. Because of this, she honked her horn at the defendant and she flipped the finger at the defendant. The defendant became very angry at her and the defendant began waving a handgun and then shot the handgun towards the ground. After the defendant shot the ground, she exited the highway and the defendant shot at her again. She was very scared because the defendant could have shot and killed her. The defendant did shoot her car one time and she has a bullet hole in her car. Now, that's from the PSI report. And this is the narrative from the stipulations. While on uniform patrol, I was dispatched to the above listed location for a shooting in progress. Upon arrival to the location, I contacted the victim alongside Officer Sanchez and asked her what occurred. The victim stated she had just got off work and was heading home, going southbound on US Highway 281 North. Victim stated when she entered the highway, suspect, that's you, had cut her off and he and the victim began to flick each other off. Victim then stated the two began to yell at each other through each vehicle's windows. Victim stated suspect then began to drive aggressive and show signs of road rage. Victim stated suspect then began to drive in the right-hand shoulder, pulled up to the right of victim's vehicle, brandished a silver firearm and shot at the ground one time. Victim then stated she took Warsburg Parkway, Nakomi, Rhapsody southbound exit from 281, and suspect continued to stay on the southbound main lanes of US Highway 281 North in the right-hand shoulder. Victim stated suspect then brought his torso out of the driver's side window, extended his arm with the firearm and fired what victim believed to be 3 or 4 shots at victim, with one bullet striking the back driver's side panel of victim's vehicle and exiting the opposite side of the back right wheel well. Victim then stated she continued down US Highway 281 North southbound access road, immediately entered the highway at the next available entrance ramp and continued to drive to the reported address. After gathering the incident details, I viewed where the bullet made entry on victim's vehicle. So I'm trying to figure out what is your issue, because I don't know how flipping people off, and people can be mean when they drive, because people don't realize your goal in driving is to get from point A to point B and get there alive. And hopefully everybody else gets there alive. And guess what? When you get there is the time you were supposed to be there. So whether you need to be somewhere at 2 p.m., if you get there safely at 3 p.m., then that's fine. So I don't understand how flipping each other off or throwing the bird or whatever was doing, how that results in brandishing a gun. And based upon what I'm reading, and it doesn't matter to me if it was a female or male in the other car, but based upon what I'm reading, you knew there was a female in the car, because based upon this, you all were jawing back and forth at each other.
That's what's false.
Okay.
Right? That's what's, there's no way we could talk to each other. There was no way in that traffic. And
Okay,
then she said
when I say talking to each other, I know you all are not, hey, how's your day going? Or, forget you or whatever. But I know that when people are driving and they're angry, people can tell that you're shouting at them. You may not know what's being said. I'm sure people were shouting profanities. So I'm not saying there was a conversation where you got the noun, the verb, and the adverb and the adjective, and it was a complete sentence. but from what I'm reading, there was shouting going on,
I
and you're saying no.
I mean, she was behind me the whole time. I wish there was camera footage that I was told that was out, but I mean, if there was camera footage, you could see that she was behind me the entire time for miles, and then got onto my daughter's side, which I tried my best to speed up and maneuver or do whatever I could to get her on my side. It wasn't happening. You know what I mean? And I didn't cut her off at that specific light. To keep going straight, there's only a one lane to the left for everybody else that wants to take that lane and get off and get on 281. She was on her freaking phone and didn't go for my truck is a huge 1500 truck. It's huge. It's at least two of her cars.
And you were upset that she was on her freaking phone.
No. Was not upset at all. I was having a very good day. All I did was went around her and proceeded to go. That's all I did. I just went
Because she was on her freaking phone.
I proceeded to go. I just took the light because it's a very.
But
good
it was
light.
because she was on her freaking phone.
That I could see.
I mean, I know that ticks some people off. Sometimes I see people driving and they're on their phones and I'm like, you need to be paying attention to the road, but I don't flick them off.
I didn't honk at the lady or nothing. I just went around
Okay.
and went to the light. Then she honks at me because we're at a still. Her car is in the intersection, but we're moving. It's just her car's now in the intersection. But as we proceed to get off the ramp, that's when the honking starts. I see her flipping me, I flip her, and it just went from there.
You see her flipping you
She gave me a double bird.
and then you flip her.
Yeah.
So you knew it was a female because you
No,
saw her.
I only saw hands. That's all I saw was hands.
Okay.
I couldn't see nothing else but hands.
All right. Again, not that it matters that it was a female or a male. I'm just trying to get a clear picture of where you're coming from. All right. Is there anything else you wish to say? Defense, any more questions?
No more questions, Judge.
All right. State, any more questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So the court will hear argument. State you're opposed.
Yes, Judge, we're asking you to deny his application. It's obvious his version of the facts don't make sense. This could have easily been a much more serious case where we're dealing with some sort of serious bodily injury or even death if the angles of the vehicle had been different. He brought up a good point when he just testified that he was in some sort of big truck and she was in some sort of sedan. And so his supposed concern that she was running him off the road additionally doesn't make sense along with everything else that he said. He's been given a second chance before. He was placed on deferred for that assault choking. He obviously has some sort of anger issue because, I mean, not knowing the facts of that case, in order for someone who's in a relationship to get to the point to where they're choking their significant other, they have anger issues. And he displayed that again in this particular case. So we do not believe that he should be given a third chance, and we're asking that you deny his application.
All right. Just one moment. Who's that in the corner? Does he need a UA? Sir, what is your name?
So it's Brandon Wright.
Yes. What's your name? You.
Yeah, you.
Michael Duzer? Jensen? Do you need a UA so we can see if there's anything in your system? All right, so you're going to have to wake up. A lot of people didn't get any sleep last night, but they're still awake and alert. So no more going to sleep in court. Do you understand? All right, we're back on the record. All right, defense.
Judges, there's no doubt that this was a bad situation. These road rage things are scary. I hate road rage situations, and this one ended in the worst possible way, and there's no way to minimize that. He sees that now. There's no excuse or no justification for what happened. But the issue is, do we send him to prison for it or place him on probation? I think the fact that you don't have someone in front of you who's not taking care of his kids, his family, working. In fact, he took custody of a 1-year-old little girl that girl's mother didn't even care about by himself through 6, 7 years old. And then with the help of his new wife till now, that girl's flourishing. A.B. student, involved in athletics, loves her father. Her father's there for her. Is the perfect father by all accounts, and I don't see any reason why we would disbelieve the witness we heard from. Because of that, I think there's conditions of a probation. Make sure that addressed this anger issue that he would have. Maybe a psychological counseling. There's in the pre-sentence report you've seen with the bipolar issue that maybe some medication. but there's more use to society outside with his family than there is to lock him up. And I think there's things we can do to protect ourselves from him doing this again. It's been 10 years since that other offense. He shouldn't have any offenses, I don't, but still. It's not like he's picking these up every year. It's not like he's up to no good. Smokes marijuana, but other than that, no drug history. He's not a drug addict, not picking up DWIs. I just hope that we can see to keep him with his family. He works every day, and he's sorry about what happened. Fortunately, no one did get hurt. If she would have gotten hurt, different story. It's alarming, I know, Judge, but I hope we can see to it that it's not a prison case right now. He'll be on a short leash. This court, I know, especially if he messes up, there's always that as a future consequence.
All right, Mr. Martinez, I'm going to deny your application, find you guilty, sentence you to 4 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine, time and money to run concurrent, take in consideration county court cause number 664-677, 664-679, give you credit for any time served. I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your, and I'm sorry, there's an affirmative finding of deadly weapon. All right, I'm showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you review it and understand it?
Yes.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand? All right, good luck to you.
And Judge, we haven't picked him in that civil.
Let's get the facts straight. She loves a verbal ashtray. Never blowing smoke when she gets pissed. She's quick to castrate. Love her on a good day, love her on a bad day.